welcome to Main Street Matters by Hoard on Main Street, the podcast that knows that if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. I am your host, Patrick Kaiser. We are in the last days of the third quarter. The leaves are starting to fall off trees. Pumpkin spice is flavoring everything from your coffee to your Kellogg's cereal. And skeletons and ghosts have started to adorn shops and front yards all over the country. We are here, the final end-of-year push. This is the quarter where retailers go from red to black on the P&L, where, by some estimates, over 50% of your business comes from. Are you ready? Well, I hope so. Today's episode, and really the episodes this week, will be re-airings of two webinars that we have conducted over the past couple of months. Both of these are very timely as they cover information to get you ready for Q4. Starting next week, we are going to begin our next book club series. We are going to look at the strategies and tactics of pricing. That's the name, The Strategy and Tactics of Pricing by Thomas T. Nagel. It's a little more academic, but there is a wealth of knowledge for retailers to learn and understand about how you should set your prices in order to maximize your income. And like always, I encourage you to read the book along with me, but in case you don't have the time or energy, that's what I'm here for. For today's episode, we will hear from Melodie Baan of Max Retail. She's going to be talking about hoarding inventory. We all do it. We all hang on to something because we believe that if we just did something different with it, or if the right person walks in, we can sell it for full price. Instead, it just ends up sitting on your shelf, taking up space, and most importantly, tying up your money. One of the most important lessons I have learned while working with retailers is that the term buyer is a misnomer. When you buy something, you are getting it for your personal consumption. You buy it for yourself. A buyer in a retail setting is not a buyer. They are a financial investor. They are investing the store's money into products that they believe will generate more revenue for the store. Sometimes the math is simple. You invest at X dollars and you sell it at 2.5X or something greater than 2. You make money. But sometimes it doesn't sell at that price. Whether that be perceived value of the product, it's the wrong audience for that product, there's low foot traffic, there's economic downturn, or a multitude of other reasons. So you drop the price and try to sell it for as much as you can. Many people are afraid to drop the price, but a shrewd financial investor knows that some money is better than no money. While that product is sitting there, it's not generating any revenue for you. You are better off selling it for a lower price and taking that money to invest it into something that will generate money for you than letting it sit there and waste time and space. Melodie has seen all sides of the retail business. She's a former retailer and a former sales rep, and now is the founder and owner of Max Retail. Her company helps sell inventory that isn't moving from retail shelves, freeing up money for the owners and allowing them to reinvest back into something else. She speaks all across the country about the importance of maximizing your retail sales and helping retailers grow their business. Melodie's background is in apparel and footwear, which does have often a little tighter turn schedule than some other industries. She's going to be talking about timelines for when you need to start discounting and moving on from products. For many non-apparel retailers, you might think that these timelines are a little too fast. And I know that you might be thinking that because, well, we heard it on our webinar. And they might say, well, I have evergreen items that I can sell all year round. And it may be true that you could add a little bit of time, let's say 15 days onto her first window. However, the overall point remains the same. If it's just sitting on your shelf and not selling, it's not doing you any good. You need to do something to move it and invest it into something that will bring in more revenue. You are an investor. So, with that being said, and without further ado, here is Melodie Baan of Max Retail to talk to you about what you hoard and why. Melodie, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here.
So today we're going to be talking about why retailers hoard, what products that they hoard into their store, and why they do that. So, which is really a perfect topic for Max Retail because that is really kind of the part of helping you make money off of that excess inventory and get money back into your pocket so you can find products that will do well with your customers. So, Melody, I'm going to turn it over to you so we can learn about what we hoard and why we do it.
Thank you so much. And I think all of us have our own personal reasons and attachments. So please, everything that I'm sharing is a lot of lived experience, a lot of shared knowledge from our retail community. Max Retail has over 2,000 independent retailers. I'm sure a couple of you are already members of Max Retail. So if you hear something that you've said to me, please know that that's what it's all about, is sharing knowledge and information that we've gathered from one another. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here and we're going to jump right in. What we hoard and why. And, I purposely kept this presentation extremely playful because we all know that hoarding and inventory can sometimes be a sensitive topic. So I'm trying to keep this lighthearted and so that we really stay as upbeat as possible as we walk through it. So I'm going to spend time covering what we hoard, why it's hurtful, and how to shift. These are the 3 key takeaways that I would like you to get from today. So just to ground ourselves. But I think if we want to start by just defining what is hoarding, right? And if you go and you look for what is the textbook definition, when I read this, I said, gee, that was me as a retailer plenty of times. So hoarding by definition is the excessive collection of items and the inability or unwillingness to discard them, regardless of their actual value, often resulting in clutter that disrupts living or workspaces. And what I thought fascinating about this is, I was leveraging ChatGPT and asking this question. It didn't know that I was going to be talking to independent retailers, right? It didn't know that we were retail businesses. But hoarding is so prevalent in both personal and workspaces, resulting in this disruptive work, right? And so when we think about why we hoard, I know as a retailer, a lot of times I just wanted to make sure I had enough inventory on hand. Sometimes that was it. Oh, if I mark these down, will I have enough of those to sell, right? And that went back to my planning, right? At that time when I was feeling those particular feelings, I didn't have a planner. And that was the first 6 years of my retail business. The last 3, when I hired a planner, were very different. But I hoarded a lot of times to make sure I had enough sweaters on hand, enough jewelry on hand, right? Because I knew I didn't have really on order. Other times we hoard, and sometimes that's not marked down or not want to get rid of inventory because it's something that we love, something that we thought was going to perform really well. And the thought of marking it down or the thought of just getting rid of it just kind of feels like we failed in some way. But I mean, a bad buy is a bad buy. And every single one of us here has been guilty of buying something that wasn't quite right. And my business partner, after a couple of years, she just learned to say to me, anytime I wanted to buy something at market that was really risky, she'd say, why don't you write a personal? She knew ultimately that it was cheaper for her to buy me a unit for myself than for me to have conviction and bring in a size run for our store. And other times we hoard, and I think this is really the most frequent, is because there's nothing wrong with the inventory. Yeah. It's one thing when something has a fit issue. If something is just comes in and you're like, oh, what was I thinking? Or that fits weird. But then there's other things that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the merchandise. And so you say, why should I mark it down? Why should I donate it? Why should I get rid of this if there's nothing wrong with it? I have to tell you, that's actually the biggest driver as to why I built Max Retail, is because I knew the merchandise on my sale rack, that there was nothing wrong with it. But I also knew that I didn't have the local customers in store that were going to buy it. So there's a lot of good reasons that feel to us like they're good reasons to hoard. But as we move forward through this presentation, we're gonna look at what's on the other side. If we decide to let go of those whys, if we decide to look at our inventory, regardless of what it is, for what it really is, which is money. And this is a fact. There is an average of $100,000 of cash tied up in unsold inventory annually within an independent retail store. And if you look at your sale rack right now, maybe you're standing in your store and you can look to the right. And you're like, okay, it's one rack, Mel. How can it really be $100,000 a year? Well, what's your average wholesale price point, right? I know at Max Retail, our customers, our average wholesale price point is around $70 wholesale, right? We have anywhere from mid-tier, contemporary, and designer stores that use our platform, and they're selling apparel and footwear and accessories predominantly. And that sale rack, when it's sitting right there, you're easily looking at $7,000 to $10,000 of wholesale inventory on one rack. And if you look at that rack times 12 months a year, that's 84,000 right there. That doesn't even include the stuff that's merchandised in jewelry, or that's folded on the tables, or that's in the back room. That's not including the inventory that we've put in the basement, or maybe our garage at home. There's always on one of these calls someone whose husband is complaining about the inventory that you have now moved to your home because you ran out of space in the store to put it. So these are real scenarios, and they're real feelings. And whether you're on this call because you have a storage unit or a basement or a garage that has spillover, or whether you're the retailer that just has that one rack, don't underestimate how much is on it. It's cash. And if we talk about the kind of items we hoard, I would say the one that I hear most justified from retailers, and I'll talk to retailers who have been in business for 100 years. No joke. We're talking like legacy family businesses, and they're still doing this behavior. The seasonal extremes. Those winter boots that you would look totally silly to have on the floor in the summertime. And those one-piece bathing suits, or the random odds and ends of a bikini that you would look ridiculous having on the floor in November. So I see a lot of retailers taking their seasonal extremes, boxing it up, and putting it in the back. And the thought is, it's no longer relevant on the floor, but I'll pull it out next summer.
Yeah.
And yet, what I would love for us to all challenge ourselves to think through is how much money am I about to put in a box and put in that basement? How much money am I taking off the floor? And I would like us to look at that money as opportunity. If we had that as money, not as merchandise, we could bring in something that is seasonally relevant. We could bring in hats and sunnies in the summertime in place of those boots. We can bring in more winter coats, more winter hats, more mittens in place of those bikinis. And so seasonal extremes make sense that they shouldn't be on the floor, but we gotta have a better path to getting it out of the store, not in a different place in the store to be brought back out again. Other items we hoard, we don't put in the back. We keep them on the floor. And those are staples, evergreen items, core. If you'll think about a pair of blue jean denim, plain white t-shirt, maybe some tanks, there might be an item that you say, I can sell this year round. I never mark it down because it can always sell. but has it sold? And so oftentimes we will say there's nothing wrong with it for these items. And sometimes they do sell really well. Sometimes it is a tank that you're constantly going to replenish because it is turning. But I want to encourage everyone to ask yourselves, if I really run an inventory report of these items that I'm determining as core, when did I get them in and how long have they been here? Are they really turning? Are there certain sizes that have never sold? And maybe I am reordering. Maybe I'm constantly reordering a 26, 27, 28, 29, but I've been looking at a size 24 and a 25 for years. Maybe it's the size 31, 32 for years. So let's be mindful, even with core items, there might be some that we're hoarding. Now, accessories is the one that I was most guilty of hoarding because I was a terrible accessories buyer. I could sell a woman who walked into my store 5 blouses, 4 pairs of bottoms. I could sell them 3 pairs of shoes, and they would be happy, so happy. But I could not sell a necklace or a pair of earrings to save my life. And so because of that, I had accessories in the store, but I didn't bother to mark them down. And I would bring in new ones, around holidays and whatnot. But accessories, man, I just couldn't sell them to save my life. And I didn't bother to get any better at it. I'm sure all of you are much better than me at selling jewelry. But I hoarded it instead. I let it sit. I let it take up real estate. I let it be pretty. And so even if you're great at selling accessories, what are the accessories that have not sold, right? Can you find some in your store that are not turning? And do you think like I did, well, it's only taking up this much space. How bad could that be, right? Gift items. I remember another thought. I was like, well, Christmas passed. That didn't sell at Christmas. It's a really nice candle. Maybe it'll sell for Valentine's Day. Okay, that little gift item didn't sell for Valentine's Day. Maybe it'll sell for Mother's Day. Maybe it'll sell for Teacher Appreciation Day. And I was always thinking about the next time that this gift item could sell. And I tried to sell it, but it never sold, right? But I still thought it was a great gift item. And a lot of this just goes into freshness, right, guys? Like what I'm talking about here, especially when we're talking about the accessories and the gift items, is just having that flow of freshness, right? And being the kind of buyer that's always on top of your game to have those items coming in. And that way you don't feel the need to hold on to what you have, right? And this is probably what I see the most on Max Retail. We hoard our popular brands. You have a pair of Golden Goose shoes and they didn't sell. You just can't believe it. How could these Golden Goose shoes not sell? There's no way I could ever mark them down, right? There's no way I could ever get rid of them because they're Golden Goose. And that's how we think. We think that about Free People. We think that about other brands that we have. And we're just really, I don't know, like we just have this pull towards them. And yet, all of these things that I've listed, if we can get neutral, it's money. The winter boots is money. The core size 25 blue jean that we've had for 360 days is money. The necklaces sitting on that shelf that are too high up for you to really reach, and so they just kind of sit there, money. The gift items that didn't turn money, and even the popular brands, everything on this list is just money. And it's what's making up that $100,000 of unsold inventory. If not more, maybe a little less. This is what we're looking at. And the best thing that we can do as retailers is get neutral and become aware of our thoughts. The only thing that truly matters about our inventory is how long it's been in our store, not what it is, not how much it costs, not how much we love it or hate it. It's time and money, right? I have a colleague here at Max Retail. She says, Mel, money loves speed. right? And that's going to go into the next points that we start to talk about, which is inventory turn. This is probably my favorite quote, possibly ever in terms of business. And it's my friend Dan Jablon's. He's a planner at Retail Smart Guys. And he says, if your customer sees this month what they saw last month, they're not coming next month. And I didn't get that when I was a retailer, because in my store, I thought, surely only I know about this, right? Surely only I'm the one who knows how long that's been in there. But what I realized is after I sold my store and I became the customer who shopped in it, I became acutely aware of an item that had been in the store and was still there 4 months after the last time I had shopped. And I became aware of how that made me feel as a customer. And all of the questions that came up in my mind, like, why does she still have this? I mean, she's had it marked down for a while. Maybe nobody wants it. What else has been here that long? I was shocked at the customer thoughts that went through my mind about the inventory in this store. And it's a great store, magnificent merchandise, but old inventory. You don't just know about it, your customers know about it too. And fresh inventory is what keeps our customers coming back more frequently. It's that curiosity, it's the thrill of the find. It's you as a buyer. They want to come back, and they will come back more frequently the more fresh your inventory is. And so that's why we're going to talk about turn right now, okay? What is turn? I'm sure most of you know this, but we're going to just go back to like step one because it's always a great refresher. Turn is how many times you sell and replace your inventory during a specific time period, usually a year. It's a way to measure how quickly inventory moves, which shows if products are selling fast or sitting too long. Now, I have to do this example a lot in the world that I live in today, because I now live in a world of investors, and investors don't know retail, and they don't understand what our lives look like. And so I have to give them very simple retail math, and I'm going to do it with you here because I think it's very helpful. Let's say I have this makeup bag, and a brand is going to manufacture it for $1. And I'm going to buy it from the brand for $5. That'll be my wholesale cost. And we're just going to keep it Keystone. We're going to say I sell it in store for 10. So I buy the bag today, and let's say it gets a great response and it sells tomorrow. Great. What am I going to do? I'm going to pocket the $5 profit, and I'm going to reinvest the original $5 into another item, right? And then I'm going to do that again. And the next day, this sells again. Great. Pocket 5, reinvest 5. 10 days goes by. I am on a roll. Okay. After 10 days, I have made what? $50 profit off of my $5 investment. Now, if I buy this today for $5 and it doesn't sell tomorrow, or the next day, or the next day, and I get to day 10 and I sell it for 10, did I really win? What I lost is the opportunity cost of time. Money loves speed, right? And turn is how fast this action happens with our inventory, and our profits are the result. So you can make $50 off of your $5. You could make $10 off of your $5 in the same amount of time, depending on your turn. So we're going to go deeper into that, but I hope that was super helpful for you. Let's look at this in actuality. So let's say there's two stores and they're side by side. Store 1 and store 2 both have $200,000 of inventory on hand. Now, store one in blue gets 2 turns a year, which means that it's taking an average of 6 months for them to turn over their inventory. Whereas store two, they're turning their inventory every 3 months. So they're getting 4 turns in a year versus 2. Now, let's say they've got a great margin, right? They're really doing a great job. The first store is going to make 800,000 with their 2 turns a year. Now, guys, like, let's be honest, like, it's a little extreme. We don't sell everything at full price. We don't sell everything like underpriced, but like, work with me. Store two, getting 4 turns a year instead of 2, 1.6 million. Now, I wanted to give another scenario here. First, I just want to ground us for one more moment that this is the exact same inventory amount in store. The difference is store one is attached to their inventory and store two is not attached. Store one hoards, store two turns. I can imagine some people on this call are thinking, but Mel, if I get a higher margin and maybe I do keep it longer, but I don't discount it as much. And I get that. I did that my first 3 years owning my retail store. I never put anything on sale. My turn was terrible. I think my turn was like 1.6 times a year. So believe me, I am coming to you here as someone who has been store one. $200,000 of inventory on hand, 2 turns a year at a 60% margin. Okay, 60% margin is pretty darn solid. I mean, even at my best with a planner, I think I was like at a 54%, 1 million in retail sales. Store two, with their 4 turns a year, even at a 40% margin. Why? Because they're taking their markdowns, because they're committed to turning their inventory. Yeah, they're not going to rock out at 60 because they're focused on turn. They have fresher inventory for their customers, and they're going to end the year 30% higher than store one. What I find to be the most powerful thing about this exercise is when I started working with a planner, I did have $200,000 of inventory on hand. After I worked with a planner for those 3 years, by the time I sold my store, I only had $100,000 of inventory on hand because I didn't need 200 on hand. I had enough turn that I could have lean inventory that was constantly fresh. And that yielded me more turns and more profit. And that's what I want for you. Okay. So the bottom line, faster turn equals more cash back that you can reinvest and buy new products sooner. Slow turn, hoarding, your cash is stuck on the shelves. It makes it harder to pay your bills and grow. If you find yourself answering the phone with your vendors for fall saying, call me in a week, I need to push it out, right? If you find yourself saying, my Amex bill is full, I need to wait till the next billing cycle. All of these are symptoms of inventory hoarding. The harder it is for you to bring in inventory means that we're not letting go of inventory fast enough, okay? So the good news is we can increase your turn. As mentioned, my turn was 1.6 when I became acutely aware of how terrible I was doing and how much of a hoarder I was. Coming to you from a place of support, not conviction, in every sense of the word here. The first thing you need to do is you have to know how old your inventory is. And if you leverage your point of sale and your calendar reminders, that's one way to help. I had a call with a designer store a few weeks ago, and we were talking about their inventory, and they thought they didn't have that much on hand. When they finally added up their aged inventory, it was a tremendous amount, and it was 4 times what they thought it was. So we as retailers are moving so fast. We have personal lives to juggle. We have employees, we have vendors, we have rent, we have all the things that make up modern retail, which is a lot of work online on social media, right? It's kind of like the job that we have now as retailers is 2 to 3 times harder than it was a decade ago. Let's be honest. It's very different now. And that it causes us to just move at such a fast speed. We are going faster than we realize. And unless we stop and look at our inventory, we're not going to realize that those flip-flops have been in store for 75 days until they've been in store 100 days and now the weather turned. And of course, you know that the flip-flops shouldn't be there anymore. So you need to know how old your inventory is. And you can run your dusty inventory report in Lightspeed, in Shopify. If you need help finding your aged inventory, we can help at Max Retail. We have a report that we can help you pull. We know it's a little harder. And even in Square, I know you guys have some good reporting there. One of the tricks that I would always do is I would look at the date that I received a shipment, and I would put in my calendar, evaluate sell-through of Go Silk, right? Evaluate sell-through of Accrue, evaluate sell-through of Susanna Monaco. Whatever my brand was, I would put it for 4 weeks out from the date that I received the box. So let's say 5 boxes come in today and they hit the floor. Get out your phone right now before you even inventory them, and just take a picture of whatever the case may be. If it's the packing slip that came, if it's the PO, whatever reminder you need, and just put it in your calendar 4 weeks out. Evaluate this shipment, right? Something needs to remind you, because you're just going to go back to running at such a fast speed. You're going to get that inventory, you're going to get it on the floor, and you're going back to being so fast. You've got to know when to stop and look at it, okay? So that's the first thing, is know how to run your aged inventory reports and know when you need to run them, okay? Very important. The second thing is have a markdown strategy that ensures nothing sits in store past 90 days. Now you're like, whoa, Mel, strong words. I hear you. And even in this presentation, I'm going to help you through 180 days. But we always have to shoot for the moon and land on the stars. If we shoot for the stars, we're going to land on the dirt. Okay? So if we shoot for 4 turns a year and we land at 3, is anyone really going to die around here? No, we're all going to make more money. That's what I want for you. But we've got to have a markdown strategy so that when you get that reminder, when you look at your sell-through, you know what you're going to do next to take action. And then 3 is you have to create your process. You have to document, what is my markdown strategy? When do I do it? And who on my team does it with me? Because you can't be a lone soldier. You've got to enlist the help of your team. And I know you're like, I don't know if I can really do that. I believe you, you can. Because anything written and documented can be taught. Which is why step 3, create the process, write it down, and train your team. Okay, 0 to 30 days. Guys, we are not marking our stuff down in the 0 to 30 day period. It is go time. It is full retail time. Let's make it happen. And so the best way to ensure that you don't have past season inventory is proper preparation of the new inventory, right? Proper preparation prevents poor performance. That has got to be in our head. And you and I have all been guilty of seeing that item and you're like, oh wait, I can't believe that's been here 60 days. I never put it on the website, right? Oh, that item's been here 60 days. Wait a minute, that's Sarah's favorite brand. How did I not text her? Or, oh my gosh, this is so cute. Oh, we never did a post for it on social. And so I suggest that you don't just have a strategy for your unsold inventory, you've got to have a rockstar strategy to sell your inventory. And so that first 30 days, you have to know that you've done everything in your power to do right by that inventory, right? You want to merchandise it. You're going to put it in the window. You're going to put it in that area of your store that gets the most foot traffic. You're going to reach out to every single client that loves that brand. Please tell me when you're checking people out, you're taking their information down, right? You need to have a good point of sale. You got to know who to call when the new shipment comes. So important. And you got to promote the hell out of it. You got to get it on the website. You have to get it on social. If you don't have that young blood, that high school student, that college kid in the store shooting content for you, that is another takeaway from this. You need to go to the local college or the local high school, and you need to find someone who knows how to do this stuff to just come after school and make some content for you. This is one of the biggest pain points I hear from my retailers is, Mel, I'm short-staffed. And I totally get that. You're definitely short-staffed. But you got to go out and look for some good people. And, like I said, it's not like you have to trust the person who's going to come in and shoot these cute little videos with inventory. You don't have to do that. You've got your rock star who does inventory. You just need some young blood to come and make sure you have constant content. This is the world we play in. There's a lot of great groups out there that can help you with media content. If you don't know where to start on that, just reach out to us. You can reach out to me personally, even Melodie at maxretail.com, and I'll shoot you to a couple people who are really good at that stuff. But do your part so that you don't have to hoard it. If you have a solid 0 to 30-day strategy, you won't have the desire to hoard it because you will have known that you did your very best. 31 to 60 days. Now, that little alarm went off on your phone. You're at that 30-day mark. You need to say, how are things selling? What sell-through did I get? I know in my store, I was looking for a 50% sell-through in the first 30 days. Everyone has a different comfort level, but I'm letting you know, if you don't even have a 20% sell-through within 30 days, you're probably going to be looking at the rest of this size run past season, all right? You really need a signal that this item is doing well in your store, and the best signal is selling inventory. So if you have merchandise that is, you've sold 1 out of 5 items, you've sold 1 out of 10 items in the first 30 days, you've got to take your first markdown because you need to see if you can create demand for it. Absolutely re-merchandise, right? That was my favorite trick, is any poor performers, I would move to the front. I would move to that VIP real estate space. I would merchandise it in 3 different places if it was doing really, really bad, just to get more eyeballs on it. So re-merchandising is very important. Also, if you sold half of the size run, obviously you're re-merchandising anyways. As you get new things, make sure that you're showcasing the inventory that you have had a 50% sell through. Don't rest on your laurels. You still need to sell through the rest of it, right? So merchandise the old with the new. It can make a big difference. The other thing you can do is create an internal spiff. And what I used to do in my store is I would put a little tiny yellow highlighter dot on inventory that had reached this point. And I would just give my team like $5 if they sold it, right? Because the average price point in my store was $200. So giving them $5 was much cheaper than a 10 or a 20% discount. And it just kind of kept this inventory moving. And we called them Easter eggs because it was kind of like, as you were pulling merchandise, to be like, ooh, I got an Easter egg. I made an extra $20 because I sold 4 of those items. You can play with whatever internal spiff you're comfortable with. Maybe it's free lunch for whoever sells the most Easter eggs in the day or the week, right? It can be something more fun. It could be like maybe they get to pick an item or whatever motivates your team. But consider something like this, because this is still better than looking at this inventory after the season has ended. And then just once again, just going back to, if it's not selling at all, please take your first markdown. Management 1 would say your first markdown is your best markdown. if you have something that has like a 0% sell through and you get to 30-day mark, I mean, management one would tell you just cut to 50 and just try to get it out. I know that's a little uncomfortable. I also understand that sometimes it's hard if a brand ships you early and they sent you, jeans and nobody's buying jeans in September. I'm aware of this dynamic. You're like, I just need another 30 days. I get it, but make sure that you clienteled. Make sure you have it on the website. Make sure you have it on social. Make sure you've done your part on those first 30 days, right? And I hear you, sometimes you need a little bit more time, but you still need to be aware that it is still sitting for too long. Okay, that alarm goes off again, that we are now at our 60 to 90 day mark. We're now moving out of season, right, guys? Like this is the final hoorah. Even if it sold well, even if you achieved 70% sell through in the first 60 days, get the rest out, guys. We got to get it out. It's got to be gone. We don't want onesies hanging around the store. That's messing up our merchandising, right? So even do a markdown on whatever is left over at this period of time. Why? Because we're so close to getting the full run out within our 90-day period. Awesome. And, time to cut to your second markdown of the poor sellers, 50% sell through, right? If you were able to maybe move one or two of those items in the last 30 days, let's kick it up a notch, right? We've got to get the poor sellers out. I can't even tell you how many full size runs get listed on Max Retail at the end of season. How are there full size runs left over at the end of season? Because we've got to be more mindful. We've got to be more proactive than reactive when inventory isn't performing. And yes, I know. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with it. And yes, I know it's your favorite brand. And yes, I know it looks core. It's money that is going to stay as merchandise and not convert back into money unless we take action, right? And that's why we're having this wonderful conversation together. Okay, but you're like, Mel, it's not all gone. Let's be honest. It's been 90 days, Mel, and it's still here. Or oops, I missed that second alarm and I wasn't paying attention, and now we're actually at 120 days, right? This is when I encourage our sellers to list it on Max Retail. I say, we are never here to compete with your in-store markdown. Do your 30%, do your 50%. If you can't sell it at 50%, then you list it on Max Retail. Max Retail is going to create listings for your unsold inventory and put it on retail and resale marketplaces where end consumers are still really excited about it. Over 400 million end consumers are really excited about your past season inventory. And guess what? Your customers have now seen it in store for 90 days. They're not excited about your past season inventory like these online shoppers are. So that's when we're going to kick it and say, okay, Max, do your thing. But also you still need to make it a little more compelling in store. Move it to a 60% off, right? Move it from 50 to 60. There's very little result that comes from like a 50 to a 60% markdown, but to hell with it, do it. And also try some BOGOs, buy one, get one free, have a shelf in the store. Everything on the shelf is buy one, get one, right? We can be creative as we're trying to get this inventory out. And now another 30 days has gone by and you sold some stuff on Max Retail, but there's still some stuff that's sitting around and it's on Max still and it's in store still. We have a price drop feature in Max Retail where you can lower your price, 1%, 5% every couple days. And what that does is it boosts your inventory again on our sales channels every time with your new lower price. So it unlocks more consumers that would be interested in your product. So it's this super cool algorithm that we've been able to help our independent retailers utilize by lowering their price just a little bit every couple days to keep sell-through on older inventory increasing. But we still have to do our part in store, 75% off. I know at that point that feels really painful, and a lot of you don't want your customers to see items at 75% off in store. I get that. We do have a lot of customers that at this point, they just put this merchandise in the back of the store. They don't keep it on the front part of the store anymore. They just keep price dropping it. They keep it listed on Max Retail to sell. But I have some customers that just don't like going this far down in store, and I get that. And then older than that, if you can't sell it for a half a year, I know this is the part where you now want to put it in a box and bring it down and take it out again next summer, but your customers don't want it next summer. You need new inventory. Consider items as a gift with purchase, right? See if there's something, if it's an accessory, for instance, like we had talked about, maybe you have an anniversary sale coming up and you have some really great customers. Maybe you want to gift some of the jewelry to your customers. Consignment stores. If something's really not selling, but you have a good relationship with a consignment store, that's another way. I always had a consignment store in my back pocket. And then donate. There's a lot of really amazing organizations like Souls for Souls, Dress for Success, and a lot of really worthy places where you can get a tax deduction. But hoarding is not the answer. To me, the most important thing in my entire presentation is the 0 to 30 days, because I believe that the majority of our issues come from just trying to keep up with the pace of our store. And there's just so much to do. And it's hard to do it when you have 3, 4, 5 boxes coming in every day. How can I possibly get that much up on my website? How can I possibly shoot that much content? How can I re-merchandise this many times? I get it. I totally get it. But if we do our part for our new inventory, we can feel really confident about what we're going to be doing at that 60-day mark, at that 90-day mark. We have to know we did our part so that we don't want to hoard. So in closing, hoarding keeps you surviving, but high turns keep you thriving. And that is what I want for all of you. And if you want to get a copy of this presentation, I will be putting it on maxretail.com on our blog site. And if you're a member of Max Retail, this will be internal on the retailer resources section of the site. So that'll be up there by tomorrow morning.
Melodie, that was amazing. Thank you all so much for sharing. I mean, just the concept of having $100,000 just sitting on your shelves of product that you're just wanting to move. I mean, all of this really is about taking that inventory and making sure you get money for it so that you can reinvest it back in your store and making sure that you can buy something that is going to sell. So thank you so much. This was fantastic. I do want to open up to some Q&A or some any questions with a couple minutes that we do have remaining. While people might be typing in, tell people where they can find you, where they can find more information about Max Retail.
Sure. So Max Retail is a platform that enables independent retailers to get their wholesale cost back on past season inventory. We specialize, as mentioned, in apparel, footwear, accessories, handbags, a little bit of beauty and gift as well. But predominantly it's going to be contemporary designer stores, a bit of mid-tier. I have a joke, if you've heard of it, we can sell it. And we do integrate with Lightspeed, Shopify, and Square. If you're not on one of those point of sales, you can still list via sending us an on-hand report. And yeah, there's no cost to sign up. And we take a 15% fee when merchandise sells. You're listing at wholesale cost. So once again, Max Retail is not a full price sales channel. It is not your first markdown. We are where you come when you cannot sell it yourself, and you will recoup your wholesale cost. We will take a 15% fee, and we even give discounted shipping labels of $5.99 per order.
And that's amazing. I mean, it is such a needed thing. And again, get that money, invest it into something that is going to sell, and that you could then get your turns off of that.
Totally.
Did have a question come in? Christina asks, is this applicable for stores just opening as well? We have been in brick and mortar business since June, and I keep product because I want to build inventory. It's a really great question.
Yeah. It's so what I love about Max Retail for a new store is you definitely need us because you're going to be figuring out what works and what doesn't work. So I would say just start looking around and saying, hey, what have I gotten in that's flying out? You want to make sure you go and put more of that on order. And what am I still sitting on full size runs in? You'd probably want to make sure you've already done your first markdown so that in 30 days from now, you list it on max retail. The one thing I'll say is the more you list, the more you make. So we're really not a great solution if you only have like $2,000 of sitting dresses, right? We see that our retailers are on average listing, as mentioned, like 5,000 to 7,000 a month on our platform because it's the merchandise that they've now moved to the sale rack, right? Every month they have a full store. To your point, Christina, they have a full store, and every month, there is inventory that has now reached that 90-day mark that needs to move to the sale rack. And yeah, I would say give yourself. You can please grab this link that I posted here for any retailer interested. But I would say give yourself another 30 to 60 days, bring your inventory in, see what's selling and not selling, and sign up for max retail when you have a rack full to list, right?
Yeah, but that schedule that you laid out, and you're looking a little bit trying to figure out what is selling, and you need a little bit more time to get your data, but that schedule is applicable as well. Really, you should be focusing on kind of the turning your products within the first couple months, and again, I love the promote the heck out of it because that is what it's going to get people to come in and buy it, and that's what's going to get it off your shelf first, and then get the money back in your pocket.
Yeah, and I would say, Christina, you just got to make sure you have fresh inventory on order. It's very challenging as like a new retailer to say, like, what do you mean I need to bring more in? I still have so much here. But that's how we fall into this cycle. So as a new retailer, just make sure you have fresh shipments coming. And if it's not selling, put it on max, right? So that you have money for the new shipments that need to come. Don't get stuck in that wheel of I don't have money, I have to sell the inventory I have. Sadly, that's not how it works in retail. You gotta have freshness to be effective.
Question. So, Christina, follow up, does Max Retail turn inventory that is not clothing or accessories? I'm a refill store, so bath and body products, home eco-friendly products, etc.
I don't know if we have any historic sell-through on items like that. I will say it has to be branded and it has to be over $20 wholesale to list on our platform. So I'm not sure if those products would qualify. And I see Stacy here. Do the dates and timeframes apply to a home decor store as well? A lot of items we have that is on the side of our store are not as seasonal as clothing. Stacy, it's about turn, right? Like whether it's clothing or whether it's home decor, it's money, right? So no matter what we sell, yes, some categories do get more turns a year. But what I would suggest for you is just to look around and see, hey, what is selling really fast? How can I go get into more of those products that are selling fast and maybe veer away from products that have a slower sell through or a longer time that you're seeing them sitting on a shelf, right? And it might be like, well, it's this item, so of course it's going to sit longer. I don't know. If I have stuff that I can sell faster, I'm always going to go say, what can I sell fast? You really don't want any item in the store that takes too long to sell. Money is money.
Yeah, I know a lot of retailers are hesitant to do the markdown because I love it. It almost seems like a failure. I loved this. I thought I would do really well with it, or a multitude of different reasons. But at some point in time, it's just money that's sitting there, and you want to be able to sell that for whatever you can to get more money to buy something that is going to sell.
Yeah. So I would say the way I see it is fail fast. Okay. Don't drag out the failure of a bad buy because you want to prove you can sell it.
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon, right? One of the largest companies in the world, whether we love it or whether we hate it, the man is great at failing fast. And so if we buy an item and we can disconnect ourselves from the item and just be like, that didn't work. How fast can I get my money out so I can bring in something that will? That's the mindset we need to look for.
We have another question from Colin, more specifically about Max Retail. So 3 questions in one here. How do returns work? How fast are they paid? And can we discount more than offering it at wholesale?
So all sales are final. So because Max Retail is selling your past season inventory on retail and resale marketplaces, they are final sale. And even a couple channels that we sell on, if there are returns, we ingest them. We don't send them back to you unless you've shipped out a damage or an error, right? Like if you ship out 2 left shoes are coming back to you. Other than that, the shoes are never coming back to you. How fast are we paid? You get a prepaid label with every order that Max Retail sends you. As soon as you ship out that order and that shipping label is scanned, the money drops into your bank account via Stripe. So all payments are securely processed through Stripe. And can you discount more than offering it at wholesale? Yes, you can. When you list it on Max Retail, you'll list it at wholesale. And then you can put the price drop strategy in place and you can say, I want to price drop it on day 1, instead of day 30. That's fine too.
But it doesn't look like we have other questions that are coming in. So Melodie, thank you so much for this. This was incredible. I think some great value for our retailers and understanding how to make more money off the things that are just sitting on their shelves already. So thank you very much for being on today. And again, Melodie, thank you very much for being on today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. All right, everyone, have a wonderful fall season. Bye.
Y'all take care. Bye. All right, folks, that is the end of today's episode. You can watch this webinar as well as find so many other resources that we have to offer at heartonmainstreet.org. If you enjoyed this or any other content that we have through our website, please consider making a donation to the organization. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. The money that we raise goes to helping independent retailers that are affected by natural disasters and helps us produce more content like this. Our episode on Thursday will be with Amy Meadows of Windows Matter. We'll be talking about holiday window displays and how to create show-stopping window displays that will stop people in their tracks and get them to come in and shop your store. So I'm super excited about that. I love Amy Meadows. She is fantastic. She is really a leader within the window design and visual merchandising field. So I'm so excited that we were able to have her on and talk about window displays. Until then, stay safe, shop local, and keep your heart on Main Street. This episode was written, produced, researched, and edited by me, Patrick Kaiser, with a very special thanks to Melodie Baan of Max Retail. For more information about Heart on Main Street, you can visit www.heartonmainstreet.org. You can also email us at contact@heartonmainstreet.org. Thanks. Bye.